The following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Hallmark Greatness, the podcast where we lie to you on the Hallmark dating site that is your life. I am Joe, and with me as always, she's back after spending 2 weeks belittling all male nurses for being cowards and, in her words, absolute fucking disgraces. It's Barney.
Bloody mercies.
And having bounced back from the worst case of farty shoulders since Susan Boyle had that unfortunate incident with the balloon pump, it's Katie.
Hello. Didn't we talk about the farty shoulders on the podcast or just pre-podcast?
I think it's mentioned in there somewhere. I can't remember. If not, that's just a fun joke for us.
That's just no one needs to know.
Yeah, if you would like to keep up to date with all the Hallmark of Great gossip, you can follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Great, all one word, or we are on Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark Greatness. Or if you want a film, you've seen a terrible Hallmark film that you want us to have to sit through, send us an email at hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com. It's hot, isn't it?
It's so
Joe.
I said, you're lucky I've got a shirt on, because if given the option, I wouldn't have. But then I thought, no one is to see that melting Arctic roll of a body I've got underneath the shirt.
And your train tattoo.
My train tattoo. This week's film. 2015's Unleashing Mr. Darcy, which is not as saucy as I thought it was going to be. In fact,
Always much about the dogs. I was hoping.
It was the least saucy film I've ever seen. Barney, do you have a synopsis?
Not in so many words. It is a truth universally acknowledged that when you marry below your class, then you must be a social pariah. And that is exactly what happens to Fitzwilliam Darcy, or so it would seem. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, that's quite good. That's the opening bit, yeah.
Well, because I thought it'd be like Mr. Darcy's like rabid in a cage or something, and he gets let out and causes chaos.
I thought Mr. Darcy was going to be a dog.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be one of those things where like the cats and dogs talking to each other, but it's Sense and Sensibility, but with cats and dogs acting it out, like that film Cats and Dogs.
I didn't make that link when you said you thought it was a dog. I thought, why would you think it was a dog? And then now I've said it. Duh.
Well, she has got the cold, dead eyes of a killer on the front poster, hasn't she, that lady? The actual synopsis for this riveting piece of cinema. In this modern day spin on Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth Scott is fishing for direction in her life and gets the opportunity to professionally show her Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, not a euphemism, in a fancy New York dog show. Fancy.
Fancy. Aren't they all fancy?
It doesn't look very fancy, does it? It looks like it's in a church hall. It looks like it's in like the reception room of a Ramada hotel. Yeah.
I've not watched any dog shows before, but I feel like dog shows are just removing all the good things about dogs and just making them really boring and just stand there.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's supposed to be the perfect specimen of that dog. So it's supposed to be, well, we go through it, don't we, when he's training the other judge.
Yeah.
Or ganging up on a woman with another man, as it turns out. Yeah, but it is that thing with, like, Crufts. I like the agility stuff, like where they're all running about and jumping over shit. That's great. I like Flyball thing, where they have to run and do. But when it's just like people trotting round with dogs, the most boring thing, because that dog's not going out doing dog stuff, is it? Like rolling in stuff. And no, it lives a sad, isolated life, like blind people's dogs.
Chin and tail upright for some reason.
If you watch Crufts, the old men, right, who come out, they're always cupping the balls and stuff. They love it.
Oh yeah,
the dog's balls, not their own. Well,
at the same time, comparing.
Yeah, it says in the Breeder's Guide that it should weigh equal to 160-year-old man's plums. Let's get into this whole bag of nonsense. It's made by Darcy Pictures.
I know, I noticed that. I tried to Google that and it didn't come up with it.
I think they made this and then went, oh shit, got sued by the estate of Jane Austen. And we're introduced to the heroine of this film, in the loose possible sense, Elizabeth Scott, who is a teacher at a prestigious school for white jerks.
Yep.
She's
teaching them about English history and their dogs.
About Queen Victoria and her dog Dash.
Which I didn't know she had a dog particularly. So.
I mean, probably. Rich people have always, like, royalty traditionally have got dogs, haven't they? Apparently Queen Victoria lived in a castle which again, don't
Okay.
think's true, but okay. And their homework is to write a diary essay, a
300
diary entry. Bonus points if you include the dog. And I'm like, how is this? This turns out the brightest and best in America. This
It looks like it's like for an 8-year-old rather than they looked about 16.
Yeah.
Didn't they? They're in
Well,
suits.
the bell goes and they all doing American stuff. They all get up to leave. Not like in British schools. The bell's for me, not for you.
Yeah.
And some little jerkhole gets told to sit back down because he needs help with his thingy. His dad is just lurking in the school
With a lacrosse bar, like
with a
tapping
lacrosse
it, like
stick.
menacingly.
It turns out this kid has to do extra work or he's going to get kicked off the lacrosse team. His dad is called, what's he called, like Max Bastard? Grant Markham. There we go. Yeah. He says, no, he won't get kicked off because he's the best player. And then he tries to bribe her to give him a passing grade. And he says the line, and I'm like, is this a recurring thing in Hallmark films now? Everyone has a price.
Yeah.
And I was like, ding, 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 ding. There we go. She refuses because, she's a good person and also...
Education doesn't have a price.
Education's
something along
important.
those lines.
But then he's
You
not
already
going to learn,
pay
is
quite
he?
a lot of money, and the point is to make your child clever.
Yeah.
Not an
No,
idiot.
because he won't, will he? He'll just pay for his son all the way through life, and his son will end up being fucking president because... also, his mum is on the board of the school as well. All right.
But I had issues with this guy and his kid because I love Pride and Prejudice, so I've seen it so many times and read it so many times. I have no idea who this man and this kid are meant to be, like character-wise. Who are they? Like everyone else, I know. Oh, you're meant to be such. You're meant to be such.
I think
such.
they're just
Who are they?
a framing device to get her out of her comfort into this world of dog shows.
Right. Okay.
I think it was
I think
purely...
it's just to get a bit of background drama to dredge up later as well, because that is in the books, isn't it? But it's more about like the sister who's run off with Mr. Wickham and things. Because he saves the day. I'm giving away the plot, everyone, but he saves the day at the end, doesn't he?
If you've seen Sense and Sensibility already, this is it, but with dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end, he saves her from the family drama. I think he saves her in this. He saves her from this suing situation. So
in a reverse twist of fate style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone has a price, including him. So you can be bought out at the end. But anyway, skipping ahead.
We go and we meet Bliss the dog, which is Elizabeth's King Charles Spaniel.
Yeah.
And then she takes him for a walk, goes to see her mum, who, quelle surprise, runs a wedding shop.
Bridal shop.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, I'm going to take my dog to a fancy dog show. And they all laugh at her and go, you dickhead, on your birthday? And she's like, yeah, what else am I going to do? I've not got a man, have I? So therefore I'm incomplete as a person. She tells her mum, oh, Grant Markham's making trouble for me. And she goes, I'll look him up. And I thought she'd have contacts or something.
I thought she was going to do something.
No, she just Googled him. She literally, I was like, you could have done that.
I was waiting for a PI to saddle up next to her with his hat on and his
press.
His envelope.
She just Googled him and went, yeah, he's a government lobbyist, probably for the tobacco industry. And she's like, oh, what a bastard.
These guys get what they want. She said something like that.
The headmaster the next day is a fucking coward and suspends Elizabeth.
Because guys said that she tried to bribe him.
No, she tried to solicit a bribe, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
With all her money.
Yeah. And instead of him being like, well, he says, well, I don't want to get into a he said, she said style situation. And I'm like, so you'll just take a rich person's word over your staff. That'll instill confidence in the rest of your staff. Well done there, mate. I hated that bit. We get to the posh dog show, and there's loads of dogs, which was nice. This was the best thing about this film. There's loads of dogs. There's random rosettes pinned to a curtain, so you know it's a dog show.
Yep.
It could be one of those things where they see who's got the biggest onions and turnips and stuff.
I think that curtain was hiding, the chairs that they stack up at the youth centre, hiding them.
All the orange stackable chairs.
But I liked the lineup of dogs because it was King Charles, King Charles, King Charles, and then this scruffy little terrier at the end.
What's the wire-haired terrier at the end?
Yeah.
She says something weird. She's like, this is where I want to be with sweet, uncomplicated canines.
Yep.
Who's
they
ever
offer
called
nothing
a dog a canine?
Elizabeth. She's
ordinary words, ordinary conversation.
She's a history teacher, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know. Her sister is like, I'm going to get you a birthday latte. And then they look at the because that's the thing, and a stupid purple hat to wear. And then they go and look at like a notice board, and they're all shitting the pants because one of the judges has changed to Donovan Darcy. And I'm like,
we don't even know him.
Yeah, but thankfully her mum shows up, and he's like, oh, he shouldn't be judging the spaniels. He normally judges terriers. And I'm like, can you only do one dog? Is that like you specialize in one dog? Because I mean, yeah. Yeah. My notes for this are basically white women, dogs. White women arguing, dogs.
The thing is, she's like, so obviously, again, like you said, Bernie, that he's meant to be Mr. Darcy, obviously, but so he's just meant to be rude. But the whole time, she's far more rude than he ever is.
Yeah,
he's always just like, he's a bit serious. He's never rude to her. I don't think.
Well,
the only Darcy thing he does is he comes out all brooding, and that's about it.
Does he? I just thought he was constipated.
Yeah, well,
it's a difficult look to pull off.
If only you could see Joe's
face. Right. We also find out that her friend or auntie is showing a terrier there as well.
In the same lineup with all the
same lineup with the other one, but her other dog. This was the bit I was confused about. The other dog won't be there because the handler broke the leg. The other handler broke the leg, and I was like, the handler has broken the leg, or the dog's leg? Because that's not a good handler. That's a dog breaker. Yeah, he's a dog judge. They both stare at him and immediately slide across the floor. It was fucking gross. And then he's like, yes, number 8, come into the arena. And then like, I hate it.
She is an idiot at this point because she sat there watching the show and he's like calling a number and she still sat there. You're an idiot. You know you're in a dog show. You know what your number is.
I thought you all had to sit in.
I was going to say the same thing. All the rest of them seem to stay in the ring, whereas she seems to like pop in and out of the ring.
I think in Crufts, you all come in and you trot round in a circle, and then you have to do like an ID parade, and then they call you out.
It's only the size of a meter by a meter type.
To be fair, it's like Novelty Island. Yeah,
it's in a town hall somewhere. Yeah.
But it's like when you're waiting for your plane, you've got to get up an hour beforehand and stand at the gate just in case you miss it. So that should be the same with dog shows.
No, don't start with that. And he is kind of a prick at this point. But there again, she's not shown up. I'd have disqualified her.
He makes some sort of comment about her being late, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He says something like, "Is there anything stopping you now? Go from coming in."
I mean, he's just trying to do his job.
Yeah, he's very serious. He is very serious about it. But
he's dedicated to his dog judging. Like it's what he was born to do. He's felt a calling ever since he was young to judge other people's dogs.
He's got all these other jobs of like charity beneficiary and things like that, and he takes time to judge some dogs.
That's his hobby. That's his
hobby.
He's very good at it though. Oh yeah, he has a foundation that gives money to daft kids and all this shite. There's a good bit of classic Freckles, and then she goes, "What, me?" And he goes, "No, the dog. I'm a dog judge." And I was like,
"No,
he's right."
Goes, fine eyes, shame about the freckles.
And she's like, "Oh, my face." And he's like, "I did mean the dog, you fucking idiot."
Yeah. Not a lady judging
which is
contest.
A callback to actual Pride and Prejudice, where Darcy does say she has fine eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Made brighter by the exercise.
Oh.
Should we just have Barney read it out? That'll be better, wouldn't it, than this shite?
This is the only way I got through this film, is comparing it to the book.
All right, because I've only seen the TV one. She doesn't win, but she's reserve winner. Is that in case the other dog dies?
In case the other dog can't fulfill its duties, opening the shop, cutting that ribbon.
With its teeth. Yeah, they go and have dinner. They make her wear a silly purple fedora because it's her birthday. Wacky! Fucking hated this. They go, "Oh," and then they go, "Oh, we've run out of wine." And like her auntie or whatever it is gets up to go to the bar, and I'm like, these are the sort of rich people who don't get up to go to the bar. They have someone who bring them wine.
Yeah, although it is supposed to be kind of pitting her as like the unprivileged one and he's the privileged one.
Yeah, because they're in the restaurant, aren't they, scowling over at them in the stupid fedora? So it's meant to show the different class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then Darcy and his sister Zara come in, and
I kept thinking of Xanthipathy.
Xanthipathy, yeah. Tallulah. And they're like, "Oh, number 8. Glad to see you made it this time." I'm like, I'd have been like, "Fuck off, prick. I'm not judging a dog now." Like smash a hot dog into your face. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, why don't you come and work for me? You can show my dogs because I'm too busy being old and white to do that myself. You can come and stay in my New York brownstone. Right.
This is the ante, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Now, I don't know if you know this, but New York brownstones cost a fortune, right? The big old buildings. So they're not shy of a couple of bob.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's opposite. Turns out to be opposite Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy's New York pomme de terre, though, isn't it? Because he has got a house in Wisconsin or something, he said.
Yeah.
Of course, it's always Wisconsin.
Well, it's amazing how much New York looks like Vancouver, isn't it?
I just liked the particular music for New York.
Oh, I have found an 8-hour playlist of Hallmark music that I'm gonna have to download and then like chop up into sections because I might just start putting it under this.
Yeah. This did feel like it had extra amounts of Hallmark style music, plinky plonky.
There was a lot of sort of sub-Regency era style music.
They tried. I mean, they did try at first, and then it just went blink, blunk, blunk, blunk.
And then they went to the
know.
standing wacky antics. Darcy and Zara sit down and keep glaring over at them. And I'm like, all these people are awful. I don't care for any of them. Her sister's all right, but she looks a bit like Tori Spelling. She goes into work again, and it turns out they're going to have to let her go because the board have voted on it. And I was like, with no evidence, right, I'll see you in fucking Strasbourg then, mate, because I'm going to sue the fuck out of you. This is America, buddy.
That's really unfair dismissal.
Yeah, but it's a private school, and, you know, who are they going to believe?
Right or not, they're allowed to show you the door. It's their world. He said something like that. They're allowed to show you.
You just live your life in fear, then, do you, mate? That rich people are going to come knocking on your door one day, prick. Yeah. I'd sue the fuck out of them, Elizabeth. And then she takes the. Hello, is that job still available? I'll get on a plane. Plane landing shot. I'm in New York now.
That's when the plinky music is.
That's when the New York music. Hey, I'm walking here. That doesn't happen because they're in a very, very clean suburb of Vancouver. She leaves all her bags outside. She runs into Donovan Darcy, who's walking his dog. I want to say like Gretchen.
Ziggy.
Yeah, somewhat. But instead of looking at the person, she just assaults the dog. Oh, it's a lovely dog. And then looks up and he's like, oh, number 8. And I was like, you know her name.
To be honest, if you meet someone with a dog, you always go to the dog.
I was going to say, I thought that was very relatable.
I don't know.
My neighbours moved in and the dog was in the front and I went, oh, hello, are you my new neighbour to the dog? And I completely ignored the fully grown humans next to it.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, I know my neighbours by the names of their dogs. I know Leonard. don't know any
dog neighbours. Called Leonard.
Yeah, it's an amazing dog.
That's a tremendous name for a dog.
It's really good. It's one of those sort of Dulex dogs, but all brown and just like a big bear.
Oh, but that's suffering in this heat.
Oh yeah, that's true. Leonard. Poor Leonard.
Poor Leonard. Get him in a paddling pool. They're sitting around the table being sad, and wacky sister Zara shows up, and she's like, Darcy's other dog, I don't know, Lemon, has just had puppies. You should come over and look at them. I was like, sweet. I'd be over there like straight away. Plates in the sink.
Kidnap me. Come and look at my puppies. All right.
I mean, it's the 70s all over again. And she's like, oh, I speak too much. I haven't got a filter. And then she's like, she insults Elizabeth as well. And I'm like, everyone's a jerk. She's like, oh,
yeah, you're the one that's that was
rude.
The rude one. Oh, yeah. That's what my brother said. Sorry, I don't have a filter.
I was like, that's not an excuse for being a prick, pal. They go over the next day. We meet Linus de Dorman. Linus not appearing in this film. He opens the door, leads them in. They are not puppies. They are at least 6 months old, those dogs.
Yeah. They're at the cute stage rather than the little tiny alien stage.
Yeah. But she picks one up and she's like, because you do, don't you? I mean, I'd have been face down in there.
You had to just jumped in.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to die, drowned in puppies. And she's got one with her. We are introduced to Felicity and...
Violet.
Is it Violet? Oh, yeah. God. Or... fucking, I don't know, a poster children for sterilization. Because they're just awful people. Like, she goes, Elizabeth goes, oh, this is, sorry, I think this is Violet and Felicity. And Elizabeth goes, oh, nice to meet you. And Violet goes, is it? And I'd have been like, no, it's not, because you're a fucking sour-faced bastard. And she's like, oh, would you like Linus to get you a lint roller? And I'm like, I've got a dog, mate. I'm going to be covered in fluff, you prick.
So she is so funnily rude, isn't she? Just like immediately, like, I hate you.
It's cartoon levels of malice though. Like, and she looks a bit like a sinister goose.
She does. She's got that very high arched Botox eyebrows.
Yeah.
She's meant to be Lady Catherine de Bourgh, but even she wasn't that horrible in the books.
I'm choosing to say Chris de Bourgh.
Lady
He's got good eyebrows. But also, Donovan isn't there. He's been called away on emergency business at the business meeting.
At the dog show.
With Dr. Business.
Charity needs your help immediately.
Yeah,
Dog's
so he
dying.
had to leave. And Violet says, Felicity is going to be Zara's sister-in-law soon. Wink, wink. Because Zara comes in asking for help with her history homework. Elizabeth goes, I'm a history teacher. And Violet goes, ugh, you've had a job.
It's not your place to help someone with their homework.
I've just got
how she goes, I'm a history teacher. I hope your paper's on history of dogs, because that's all I know.
Queen Victoria and the dogs she had. Yeah. That'd be good. That'd be a good specialist subject in Mastermind or something, like kings and queens and the dogs they own. I'd like that. Cool. That'd be fun. Waspish white women, the movie. And then the next day, she's out walking one of the dogs, and she's
carrying that dog. That dog is never on the floor.
It does get carried a lot. It does get carried around a lot.
Ruin its special dog qualities by walking it.
Yeah. She sees Darcy getting out of a limousine with Felicity.
Hides behind the lampposts.
Stares at him. He senses he's being watched. And he turns around and she goes, oh! And then
he found my hiding spot.
Behind this, what's this opera? Big fat person hiding behind a lamppost. And he says, good night for a walk, isn't it, number 8? And I'm like, is he going to call that all the way through? Because I think that's quite demeaning. You know her name. You called her it in the restaurant. You said Elizabeth. Or is it to prove that he likes her? Is it pulling her pigtails and pushing her over?
I think that's the implication.
We speak to the auntie. I think is it Linda? It's called.
Oh.
Gabby, yeah, who says that Donovan is very busy. He runs all these charities and stuff, and he once advised the president on philanthropy. That's fun, isn't it? That's a real thing. I don't know.
It's in Hallmark world.
But she's impressed by that. She went, "Oh, the president."
I mean, it depends which president. If it was
I was thinking the president of the Dog Association.
Mr. President off the Camembert cheese. And then we have another dog show. She's at another dog show where Mr. Darcy is the judge, but she's showing one of Gabby's terriers now.
Yeah, Rose. Yeah. I've memorized all the dogs.
I could tell you know the dog's names. I don't remember any of this.
This is the dog show that's got the Chinese crested. That's Minnie's mum.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, they're looking around and she sees someone putting a wig on a dog.
Which is that dog.
Which made me laugh. But then Elizabeth goes, you can't do that. It's illegal. I'm like, it's a fucking dog show, love. Get over yourself.
Let the dog have its extensions in. Come on.
It's the weirdest thing. They give a sort of a quiff.
Yeah, it had like a little Elvis thing going on.
An Elvis quiff.
Chinese cresteds have to have it like on their head.
Oh.
Look weird.
It was a weird sort of mangy looking thing.
Another thing I think is weird about the dog show. Do they usually put the ribbon round the person's neck? No. I think they pin it to them, or they just give it them to hold. Because I felt that was a bit weird. It's not the Olympics. And now we play the national anthem of dogs, and it's just the Baha men who let the dogs out. I think you need to put it on the dog. It was just really funny to think.
Hey, they'd paid money for them rosettes. They were getting use out of them, weren't they? 15 dog shows we had to watch in one film.
All in the same venue, shot from slightly different angles each time.
Yeah.
And this time.
And also, is it a real thing? Sorry.
Go on.
Is it a real thing where they go, can you do an up and down?
Yeah.
Can you do an up and down?
I think you have to stand on the thing and then you have to trot backwards and forwards. Or trot
it's like trying on new shoes. It's the same thing.
Yeah, you've got Mum, they hurt. Back to school shoes. That's where me pumps. And then he's who's this other man with him? And he's another guy that's being trained. And they do like this sort of flirty sort of talking to each other, but it's not. And all I've got is the line, the back of the dog should be the breadth of a man's hand. And I went, that doesn't mean anything.
Everyone's got a different sized
Like,
hand.
my hands are pretty big.
Compared
like,
to Jeremy Beadle, you know.
Jeremy Beadle, this little spindly terrier there.
Trump hands. Tiny Trump hands.
I'm like, but like Chucky from Weird Thing About That, his hands are massive. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not a universal. Oh, you ever seen that Jason video where it's the history of measurements?
Oh no, I've not seen it.
3 barley corns is an inch, 7 inches in a foot. Why? Yeah, it's just like that. And it should have a bright and fun disposition.
And again, Elizabeth just does not pick up on the social cues. Like, it's obviously aiming at the man, and she's there like, why are you just reciting things at me? And
I don't think I think that's how Darcy flirts. All he knows is charity work and dogs, and that's just how he gets women. Just pees on them, sniffs their ass and pees on them, and then they're his.
No other man's gonna want him.
Nope. She receives a letter from Grant Markham saying he's going to sue her for defamation or something unless she stops spreading lies about him.
Yeah, where did she find time to spread lies about him?
I think it's more of a preventative measure on Markham's thing. It's like making her sign a non-disclosure agreement so that...
I think he needs to let it go, doesn't he? God, he's got his way. He's got her the sack.
Well, you'd think, wouldn't you? Yeah, but they hire another lawyer and meet her in a cafe, so she's going to be a good lawyer. And she's like, no, I think he's just doing it to scare you. Right, that plot goes nowhere.
Oh, is this where they're drinking champagne on a park bench? My kind of ladies, these.
She goes for a walk in the park again, bumps into Darcy again. I'm like, if this was actually New York, the odds on you bumping into each other this much.
Yeah, so she's all upset, isn't she? And then he's like, oh, isn't my aunt a dick? And she's like, oh yeah, it's not a real problem. I can't imagine what problem a rich person would have. And he's like, well, it depends. And she goes, well, it's hardly poverty, is it? And he goes, well, there's other things.
And also, you're not exactly poor, Elizabeth, are you?
No, I thought that because she was like, I can always go work in my mum's bridal shop. I was like, oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
nice.
Just as a fallback career, your
Yeah.
mum's just going to be like, well, I don't really need you because we're a bridal shop. We don't get that much work in, like, so it's not really a 3-man operation. I've already had to give a job to your daft sister, right? And then a load of stuff happens. Like, my next notes here are, what is this job these people have? They're sat on chairs watching women in wedding dresses stomp up and down. And like not clapping, not making notes or anything, just going, nice. One of them says, nice neckline on that. That was it. What job's that?
Is it buying stuff for the bridal shop? Are they going to buy those bridal dresses?
Is that what it was? Right.
Like a catwalk thing, and like, oh, I'll have one of those in size 12.
But it wasn't. If it was supposed to be New York bridal thingy, there was about 20 people in that room.
I know, and 2 of them were
Violet and Felicity glaring daggers at them. And then Felicity's like, yeah, I'm going to get married to Darcy. It's only a matter of time.
We've got an agreement. The family's got an agreement.
Yeah, and she goes, all right, sweet. I'm not really that bothered. I think you're a prick.
Cool. Yeah.
I think you're a bit of a prick as well. My next notes are they're in a dog groomer's.
Yeah, they've gone to the spa, the doggy spa.
Yeah.
But the auntie lady, the one she's gone to live with, is like, 2 can play at this game because he's in the newspapers all the time, isn't he? So he's in the newspaper with Felicity, and then she thinks that there's going to be sparks between them. So she rings the newspaper and sets them up to meet in the dog groomers.
Ah, okay. Because otherwise that was just ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So she tells her to go to the dog groomers at the same time he goes every week. And then they have a bit of flirty banter where they...
Yeah, the dog...
Did they spill something on each other?
No, the little tiny, ankle-high dog does that wet dog thing. And he go, ooh, and it got on her face. And I'm like, how? Unless it was on stilts, that ain't happening, love. And then they have a bit of sort of, oh, my life's difficult as well. And she's like, oh, I understand now.
Yeah, it's all a bit of non-sequential, really.
No, but then they find out in the newspapers, Mr. Darcy has been seen with a young woman around town that isn't socialite Felicity.
Yeah,
and this
woman.
This angers the angry goose lady, and she's like, "I'll get you with this thing." And then I've just got more dog nonsense. I'm very bored now.
Oh, I've put at this point, I love terriers.
I like terriers too.
My next notes are they go to a party.
So before that, I think they have the dog show where he's given her first place. And it, because of what's happened in the newspaper, they revoke or threaten to revoke that because it's seen as like favoritism.
Oh yeah, because Mr. Darcy goes, well, I'll recuse myself. And the guy goes, you can't do that. It'll put us in a pickle. And I was like, get another judge, mate. Can't be that hard.
Get Mr. Bingley, I'm training up. Yeah.
Get Beadle out. All the weedy dogs will get through. It'd be great. It'd be carnage.
So she's sacked from the dog's world now.
Yeah, so this goes back to what I don't understand about dog shows. Surely they could just say, objectively, it was the best dog. Look at the size of its back to my hand.
Yeah,
it's clearly the best dog.
Fit. Yeah.
Well,
again,
I don't understand dog shows.
I didn't think it was. No, I don't think the dog show part of this was a key thing. They get invited to a party that Darcy's throwing.
The sister is dating Darcy's best friend now.
Henry.
Who should be called Mr. Bingley?
I said that. He should be. That should be
understand.
Mr. Bingley. He didn't have any sort of famous name to Pride and Prejudice. I didn't.
No, but Mr.
Henry
Bingley was
Robson.
the trainee judge, so I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah, no, I didn't understand that.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway,
someone didn't read the book properly.
I skipped it. I
like Darcy's house because he had a spiral staircase, which obviously means he's very, very rich.
Yeah,
because they do the whole camera shot going up, don't they? And he's like,
so the sister convinces the sister. The sister convinces Lizzie to go with her to the party that Henry's invited them to.
Yes, because
so it's a posh fancy out in Wisconsin.
Zara and Elizabeth
have
got on as well because she helped her with her history testing.
Yes,
and they do lots of giggling. They get there, and like I know this is a famous bit in like the BBC adaptation of it, where your man comes out of the pond.
The best bit.
It is not the same. He is not wearing a white shirt.
That's what I thought the whole bit was. That like it's sexy because you don't see it, but you can sort of see it.
Because they do it in Bridgerton as well in the second one where he falls in. But you got to have the billowing sleeves, or it's not the same effect. Seeing him come out in speedos, it's a bit like.
Yeah,
that's a Daniel Craig coming out of the ocean scene rather than Mr. Darcy.
I mean, neither of them did it for me anyway. But it doesn't. But then also, Felicity is on a sun lounger, and I'm like,
there's no sun.
It doesn't look hot enough to be lying around in the gloom.
Well, it's not. You can see their breath, and I think that poor girl.
The poor man with his tiny nipples. I couldn't see him.
Poking people's eyes out.
Yeah.
Why didn't he do it for you, Joe?
No, he didn't.
Squinting at him.
Because I was like, this is supposed to be that famous bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it just had none of it.
It's not even the right angle. He comes out to the side, and in the film, he comes out.
It's supposed to be face on, all majestic.
Yeah.
Like someone could have dropped a dog in and he dove to get it and held it up like Lion King style.
That would have been better.
Yeah. God, I should have written this. I mean, I'd have done better too. I'd have put some car chases in. But yeah, and then Felicity basically becomes a bitch, and she's like, "Listen, you shithawk, you're never going to marry me. You don't belong here. You're not good enough for him, and he's going to marry me, and he's going to do it tonight." And I was like, okay. I mean,
yeah. So she kind of runs off because I think it probably was a bit weird that she's turned up. So she's like threatens to leave, and then Darcy runs out after her, fully dressed. Not wet at all of a sudden.
Well,
it's frozen.
Before the party, it's what every posh person does, has a tennis tournament.
Oh, Christ, that.
Convinces her to stay. And then she goes and watches the tennis with Zara. And so he's playing tennis, isn't he?
Is he competitive?
He's very competitive.
Fucking bunch of fuds.
There's some sort of thing about if he wins, he has to pay double to the charity or something like that as well.
I'd have lost on purpose. She gives him a shit trophy that looks like, 100% attendance at school trophy.
And it's just really awkward because, it was meant to be Zara giving the trophy, and Zara makes some excuse really last second, says, you have to go walk across the pitch. And
then Felicity is like, and I saw you giving him that thing, the tennis thing. It's like, yeah, it was my job. I don't know. At the dance in the evening, they're having a dance about, and the violent swan, Violet, is like, we're going to show her tonight. And I was like, they're going to dump pig's blood on her, like in Carrie or Summer, like, you know what I mean? That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Didn't they do that in Breaking Legs?
I literally can't remember. I've blocked all I remember is the anti-rape chant they do in that.
No, when she's dancing at the end, they tip a bucket on her, and I thought it was pig's blood.
Possibly, yeah. It's done in a lot of stuff. It's not the butler.
You can see at some point she talks to Violet, doesn't she? And she says something about.
Well, she says, I was a teacher at this school, and she goes, And then immediately gets on the blower to Grant Markham, who teleports there in his best gear. Darcy and Elizabeth are having a dance about, and
sparks are flying.
Yeah, well, Grant's like, "Oh, can I cut in?" And
she's like, "Ooh."
She goes, "No, fuck off."
I'd have been like, "No, get out, you ball bag, trying to ruin my life, trying to get it on here with this rich lad." And then she goes to leave, and like Markham accosts her. Like he grips her, and he's like, "I'm gonna ruin you." And I was like,
"Is it really that big of a deal, Grant? Come on,
let it go. Let it go. Just let it go, Grant. You got what you wanted. Your son can play all the lacrosse he wants. Stupid white people game. It's just catch with sticks, isn't it?" Donovan stands up to him though, and he's like, and Henry, they're like, "Get this asshole out of here!" And the security get rid of him, and he's like, "You haven't heard the last of Grant Markham." We have heard the last of Grant Markham.
We have.
Actually, we haven't. And then they have a bit more of a dance. Darcy does deep kissing on her.
He announces officially, he's like, "Everyone who is interested in what the will they, won't they with me and Felicity, I can officially say we won't," and then deep kisses.
Yeah. And then she's like, "I have to go to bed now. I'm tired," or something. I can't remember why she leaves. I think she's just overwhelmed by the kissing and the tiny nips. So she goes and has a lie down.
I still don't think she knows that she likes him. I think she still thinks she thinks he's a dick.
Well, again, this was the thing that she was digging him and he was digging her. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Linda comes upstairs and is like, "I'm having a wonderful time." Falls on the bed. And she's like, "Great, yeah, it's good. I'm trying to get some kit here, though, because I'm tired. All that tennis and stuff, tiring, isn't it?" And she's like, "Oh, I'll go and get you some food from downstairs." She goes downstairs and she overhears Donovan and Henry going, "Yeah, well, that Elizabeth, she is a bit of a bitch, but, I quite like her." Linda, the grass, immediately runs upstairs and it's like, "We have to go now." And
We're leaving.
Yeah. And Elizabeth goes, "Oh, okay." And I'd be like, "No, what's going on? Why are we leaving? What?" They leave. They've got all their stuff packed up, like instantly. Probably didn't unpack. Although now they've got a dress for every occasion because their mum runs a wedding store.
Mum bridal store, yeah.
And Donovan's like, "Why are you going?" And she's like, "'Cause you said I was a dick." And he goes, "Well, you are a dick." Like, "But I'm a dick."
Quite clearly a dick.
"We can be dicks together. I quite like you." And she goes, "No, you don't." And he goes, "Come on." And she goes, "No, I'm going." And I was like, well, he tried to explain, like, you're both horrible people. Go be horrible together.
Yeah.
Nope, but he did do a "let me explain," which was fun. That's a tick in that box.
Yeah.
The next day, she gets invited back to school, and they decided to give her a job back and a 20% pay increase for keeping her mouth shut. Grant Markham and his stupid face son have left the school, and the mum has resigned from the board of directors. She goes, jog on, and tells him to stick it up his ass.
Yeah.
And then she just sort of lingers around for a bit, looking all sad. Donovan writes her a letter, which I can't remember what was in that.
It at first. Then the sister reads it and she goes, "Oh no, let me read it if you're reading it." And then I think he explains that he loves her and his side of the story as well.
Did I ever send you that picture of that guy who'd posted that thing to a lady's thing and he'd just drawn around his knob and went, "It's this size"? Because I imagine it'd be better if he'd done that.
Yeah.
Put a little smiley face on it. But yeah, and then she's like, "No, I am going to go to another dog show because that's my life now as a single white lady. I'm just going to do dog shows and eat ice cream." Donovan's not going to be the judge. Uh-oh. Donovan is the judge, as it turns out. Quelle surprise.
Wacky antics.
They're like, "Oh, let's just agree to call it quits." And she goes, "Yeah, all right." They do big, deep kissing in front of a floral arch. And the mum, Gabby, is ecstatic about this. She's clapping like Michael Gove. It's like, it's everywhere. And then
But she can sell one of her dresses, finally.
Oh, well, no, she's going to sell one to Henry and Linda because they're going to get married as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
Two dresses. I'd be excited.
To her own daughter, so this guy. And then it does that cartoon, black circle to nothing fade. And I was like,
I know, it just ended.
You don't see that very often. And that was the film. That was it. Like,
that was it.
There was no more to it. It was apparently the story of Pride and Prejudice with dog shows in there and unnecessary diversions. Hated it.
Yeah, and terrible dialogue.
Yeah.
Terrible dialogue.
I'm going to give it the breadth of one man's hand.
But that's perfect then.
All right. The breadth of a lady child's hand.
Give it one of them tiny hands from James Fact.
Yes. Oh. That's for mice.
Yeah. I thought it was terrible. I also give a child lady hand.
You think of your own ones.
So after that rating, would you be interested in a sequel?
Oh, yes.
There is. It was mentioned in one of my things. Yeah.
Oh, is it Jurassic Park?
Guess what the second one's called? So the first one, Unleashing Mr. Darcy.
It's something like Marrying Mr. Darcy.
Yeah, the next one is Marrying.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like.
And then the third one's Impregnated by Mr. Darcy.
Burying Mr. Darcy.
Oh, actually, I was going with other Jane Austen things. I was trying to get a dog pun into Pride and Prejudice.
It was Pride and Prejudice. So it seems that it's got quite a similar rating. So the first one rated slightly better at 6.2 on IMDb, and the sequel is 6.1. So you can imagine it's about a similar rating.
There's a big.
Probably not as many dog shows in the second one.
No.
Is it the same people in it?
Same main characters, yeah.
Oof.
I kind of want to watch it.
Give it a bit. We'll come back to it. We'll circle round to it.
All right. This one was my most shocked fact. It won an award for Best Feature Film in World Fest Houston in 2016.
Was it the only film to enter? Is it like when I won that fancy dress contest as a child because I was the only one in it?
I was dressed as Patsy, as in Eddie and Patsy from Ab Fab, and I came second place to I've forgotten his name now. What's he called? The one who turned out to be a big paedophile.
Jimmy Savile.
Jimmy Savile. And it was like 2 weeks before it all came out, and I was gutted for ages. So I lost.
When was this?
This was 2012, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was literally just weeks before it all came out. And I was like, I would have won that contest.
Yeah, apart from that nonsense.
If it wasn't for Jimmy Savile. Another thing he did to everyone.
That's the worst thing.
That's the worst thing he's done. The man really did look like him, though. It was very good.
It might have been him. You know, like Charlie Chaplin losing to a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest and stuff.
Yeah.
Tony Stark. Yeah.
I did a very good impression of Patsy.
You've got a Patsy vibe about you, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got drunk on drinking wine out of the bottle, and everyone was just like, "Is she acting still, or is it just her?" No, it's just me.
Method, darlings, method.
Just me now. So it wasn't actually. So it is based on Pride and Prejudice, but it's based on a novel by Terry Wilson, who, according to her website, likes pretty dresses, Audrey Hepburn films, and following the British royal family. So
Jesus Christ! Put a bullet in her head.
Yeah, it was terrible. So there's a book that is.
So whoa. Can you do that? If someone's written a book,
I thought this.
Can you just go, I'm going to rip that off entirely, but just change the names and throw some dogs in there? Because that doesn't seem right. Surely that's plagiarism.
Yeah, I thought that. How can she write a book that's exactly the same? Just change
with the same name? Well, same, I guess. Yeah, Elizabeth and Darcy, I guess.
Yeah, Elizabeth and Darcy are the same. Lizzie Bennet, wasn't it?
Yeah, but she's got Elizabeth Scott, so it's a wink to it. It's pastiche rather than.
It's a pretty terrible knockoff of Pride and Prejudice. Clueless was obviously the best version of Pride.
That's Emma, isn't it?
No, Emma. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Bridget Jones is Pride and Prejudice.
That's right.
Don't question me on Clueless. I'll come at you.
I love it so much. I love it.
Why can't we do proper films on here?
Directed by David Winning, who's got a few things like Nightman, which isn't a reference to the
Enemy of the Day, man. You gotta pay the troll toll if you want it.
That was 1998. Dinotopia, 2002.
Oh, that sounds good.
Andromeda, I think it is.
Andromeda?
Andromeda. I thought it was going to be more of a word than it was when I read it. I'm just like, Andromeda.
More of a word.
I thought it was going to be a pun, and then I was like, oh, it's just the word.
Yes.
And a film that we have on this podcast, well, not me and Bernie, but it's been done before on this podcast, the first ever podcast.
A Convenient Groom?
Yes.
He was the director of A Convenient Groom?
He was.
Wow. It all becomes a circle, doesn't it? Yeah.
So now, can we retire?
Yeah.
We've done it, everyone. We've done it. We found the link back to the original one.
So Elizabeth Scott was played by Cindy Busby. So she's had a few TV roles, including Heartland seems to be her favourite, her most prominent role.
Yeah.
Which I've heard of, but I've not seen. So
the soap opera one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite popular in America, I think. She's been in Supernatural and Vampire Diaries.
Oh.
But she wasn't anything, because I love Vampire Diaries, so I had a good Google of where she was. She was in the very first pilot where there's like two people making out in a car, and then the vampire kills. She was that character, so not a big part.
Big role, no.
And then she's been in 6 Hallmark films and a film called Volcanosaur.
Yeah. Yes, that's
Dinosaur made of volcanoes.
Yeah. So, yep. Donovan Darcy is played by Ryan Paevey. He's been in 4 Christmas Hallmark films, and he's been in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He was one of the uniformed officers in that episode when Rose is on the site of the shooting.
Show Me Going.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Very good. But his
Don't question me on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I didn't even know they had names. I know. I remember the episode.
No, it's a very sad episode, that one. Yeah.
It is very sad. So he's in that one. He is a named character. He's called Victor Lake, but I don't particularly remember him in it. But he's one of the uniforms in that. And his major role is as Nathan in General Hospital.
He has a look of like a non-union Superman.
I thought he did as well.
Like if you hired a Superman for a kid's party, he'd show up. Like when you got Spanish Thor that time.
I got Indian Thor.
Indian Thor, sorry. Yeah.
Bless him.
He tried.
So Violet Darcy, the horrible auntie, she is Frances Fisher, who's actually quite a big name. She's been in quite a lot of big title things. So she was in Titanic. She was one of the posh old ladies.
Typecast then.
Oh yeah, posh old lady.
But quite a big role. But yeah, lots of characters.
I've noticed in the films, the elder matriarch is normally a famous actress that they drop in for clout.
Yeah, she's also in the Watchmen TV series. Anyone seen that?
Oh yeah, I like that.
She's Jane Crawford in that.
Doesn't ring a bell, but
yeah, she's in quite a lot of episodes of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it.
And I've put this down. It's not very feminist of me, but it's quite interesting. Her relationship to men is quite interesting. She dated George Clooney in the 90s and married Clint Eastwood. She has a daughter with him, Francesca Eastwood.
How does she feel about her top half?
It doesn't say, but I did read the trivia and there was a few gems. One of the ones is that she's known for her ceaseless networking. That was it. Nothing else on that line.
What a horrible thing to be remembered by, being linked in.
And then finally, we've got Gabrielle, so the woman, the aunt, I'm not sure what relation she is, but the woman she lives in New York is Elizabeth McLaughlin. I really need to try and work out how to pronounce these names. I read them for the first time.
Spell them phonetically.
McLaughlin. And she's in TV, so she's been in Fringe, Supernatural, Smallville, and Flash. And a film called Man into Vampire.
Is that a Chuck Tingle book?
That was in 1970.
Oh, that's going to be saucy. That's going to be Man into Vampire. I'll add it to the list for Last Orders. That sounds after some of the shit we've had to watch recently.
Don't know, that ninja one sounded hilarious. Ninja on your headband.
Mate. Go, it's on YouTube. Watch it. It's tremendous. If you ignore the ninja parts of it, I mean, go and listen, but if you ignore the ninja part, it's quite a good film. It's like a Ken Loach sort of kitchen sink drama, and it's heartbreaking and sad, and then there's just ninjas in it. Thus ended. Okay.
Tiny Feet 69 gave it an 8 out of 10.
Wait, is that James? Is that his alter ego?
Said, give it a go. Come on, people. This is Hallmark, not Masterpiece Theatre. It is what it is, and although based on Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, there should be no comparison to the book or BBC series whatsoever. This is by far one of my more favourite Hallmark movies, and I loved it. As with all Hallmark movies, the romance is a bit weak at best. Need more kissing and groping. How can they keep their hands off Ryan Paevey?
Whoa there, Tiny Feet 69.
You don't see groping in Hallmark films.
No, the closest you get is hands accidentally touching. That's like they've done it in Hallmark films.
Yeah. I hope they step it up a bit in the sequel, Marrying Mr. Darcy.
What's it then? And then the third film, being railed by Mr. Darcy. Being groped in a cloakroom by Mr. Darcy.
The lead character, Ryan Paevey, Donovan Darcy, is dishy and very easy on the eyes. If Hallmark did anything right with this show, it is in casting a gorgeous hunk to play Mr. Darcy. He's exactly who I picture now when I read Pride and Prejudice. Well done.
No.
Colin Firth?
It's
No,
always
Little
Colin
Feet.
Firth.
Little Feet, what's wrong with you? All I can think of is that dinosaur from Land Before Time.
Happy. Oh, the penguin. Oh, that's Happy Feet.
Oh, that's
isn't it?
Happy Feet, but yeah. No, he's horrible. Yeah, no.
No.
He was all right looking.
Do you want to hear from Pam Joy Peanut?
Yes.
Say that again. Pam Joy.
Pam Joy Peanut.
She hasn't been returning my calls, so yes.
1 out of 10. What a waste
What's
of
Pam
2
Joy
hours.
Peanut?
Just finished barely sitting through 2 excruciating hours of the worst Hallmark movie
Not
I have
2
ever
hours.
seen.
88 minutes.
The acting was horrible and there was zero chemistry between the 2 main actors.
That's true.
True.
The whole thing was completely unbelievable. The only redeeming factor were the dog. They were more believable than any of the actors. They were adorable.
The dogs weren't actors. They were dogs.
Well, they acted better than the actors, according to Peanut.
I think Littlefoot would have liked it more because, as well, when we're first introduced to the terriers in the thing, there's a big close-up shot of Elizabeth's feet just in there for no reason that I thought was weird. But yeah,
I
I
didn't
didn't
notice
notice that. I'm too busy going, terriers!
yeah. Well, no, Peanut Rose, you're a menace.
You're a menace.
Ham Peanut. You're wrong.
Yeah, it was bad, but it was, wasn't that bad. Is there any more?
She doesn't know what
No.
we go through.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry, no. I just had one of each today.
That was 2015's Unleashing Mr. Darcy.
Unzipping Mr. Darcy. Tiny
Sorry.
Feet would be
I've
happy with
got
that.
got tiny feet on my brain. Sorry.
That's the third film.
Yeah. In conclusion, I've not been Anna. Your favourite line from the film? I think it has to be the correct width is the breadth of a man's hand.
Minnie, come here. Let me compare your width.
You haven't got a man's hand.
I've got a man somewhere in this house.
That's just a rogue hand. Well, there you go. Go home, everyone. Listen to this. Measure your dog's backs and let us know. Send us a picture of your dog's back and a hand.
Yes.
And whoever's got the most perfect one can have some stickers or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, let's hashtag measure your dog's back. Breadth of back. There we go.
I was going to say hand dog.
No. No.
Tiny Feet would like.
Tiny feet needs to get out more. That's the end. Bye.
It'll only be a quick one, this.